We'll finish with a look at how we can go about predicting what is going to happen. Is there a basis for doing that? Computer models, they put in some variables, run a computer simulation, and predict what's going to happen. Here's what they predicted. Here's what actually happened. This is the real world. This is how far wrong their computer models were. It's huge. So what we need to do is look at real physical evidence, not climate models. And in order to predict where we're heading in the future, we need to look at what's happened in the past, so we know where we've been. Maybe we can tell where we're headed. The past is actually the key to the future. Here is the official 2013 IPCC temperature prediction. This is where we've been for almost 18 years. Oh, darn, I did that again. And here's what they're predicting. Huge deviation from where we are now. So what can we do? What can we do to predict where we're headed? Well, the Pacific Ocean, turns out, has a warm mode and a cool mode. And it's like an on-off switch. It's either it's warm or it's cool. There's not much in between. There's virtually no transition between the two. And it switches back and forth. We don't understand why, but it does this. So here is what's called the Pacific Decadal Oscillation Index. It's a mouthful. What it means is that the ocean water in the North Pacific up here, as from 1945 to 1977, this was a cool period, global cooling, that it was cool up here. That's this period right here. Before that it was warm, and after that it was warm, from 1977 to 1998. The warm mode, which we saw from 1977 to 1998, has warm water. The red here is warm compared to what it was during the cool period when it was cold. And that's what happened here. And it shifted from cold to warm in 1 year. Boom, hit the switch and it changed. And here's what it looked like. In 1977, this is warm water off the coast of North America. In 1999, it turned cold. Been cold ever since. Here's what it was in March of last year, still cold. So what we can do then is that we can look at where we've been in the past with the ocean water temperatures. And if we're headed for another of these oscillations, and they're very regular, they go back 500 years. Every 30 years, it's warm, cold, warm, cold, warm, cold. For 500 years, it's a regular pattern. And if we extend that pattern into the future by just taking this part right here and adding it to the end here, this is what the future holds, global cooling. This was one of my aha moments at 2 o'clock in the morning. As Ellen will tell you, I'm oftentimes up wandering around half the night in front of a computer. And just for fun, I plotted some data, one upon another, and what I plotted was glacier advance and retreat, global temperature, and this, the warming and cooling of the Pacific Ocean, and they all matched perfectly. I said, aha, I get it. The ocean is causing a change in the air temperature, which is causing the glaciers to advance and retreat. And the correlation is almost perfect. So what I did was, this is a temperature record going back to 1850. So from 1880 to about 1915, it was cooling. Then it got warmer till about 1945. Then it got cooler till 1977. Then it got warmer. And in 2000, 15 years ago, I clipped this cool period and added it to the curve here and said, this is where we're going to be going in the next 30 years. And this is where we went. I'm probably the only person in the world that actually predicted global cooling in 1999, the year after the second warmest year in history, in recorded history. And it's happening. You've seen all the evidence for cooling. And the repetition of this pattern told us that 15 years ago. And the proof of the pudding is that it's happening right now. Whether it continues to happen, time will tell. If it continues to get colder, then it'll prove that I was right. It's kind of like somebody saying, gosh, you want to live forever, don't you? How's it going? Well, so far so good. The temperature thing is the same way. I predicted this in 2000. 15 years later, it's happening. If it continues, so far so good. So if it continues to happen, then we'll know. The problem for me now is I need to live another 30 years to see if it happens or not. So I'm counting on a full body transplant to get me there. So here's what I predicted. And I predicted several possible scenarios. Here is the IGCP projection, and here's where I think we may be going. We may get a little bit of cooling, like the 45 to 77 cooling, a deeper cooling, like between 1880 and 1915, a still deeper cooling, like 1790. This is what got Napoleon, what caused the French Revolution. And that's what the sun is doing now. The sun is replicating with earring accuracy exactly what happened between 1790 and 1820, which was a drastic cooling of the climate. And that's what we seem to be doing with respect to the sun. What you probably don't know is that we are witnessing today a solar event that hasn't happened in 200 years. Have you heard about it in the news? Why not? It's an amazing thing. You know, what an opportunity for us to observe something in the sun that hasn't happened in 200 years. The sun's magnetic field is going off the charts down. The reason you're not hearing is that that's associated with the Dalton cold period. And if the sun is causing global cooling, guess what happens to all the global warming? It goes away. And the global warming doesn't go away. Well, the global warming does go away, but the CO2 is not a part of that. Global cooling is actually a far greater threat than global warming. It kills a lot more people. It reduces food crops. It increases energy requirements. There's a lot of other things. So I'm going to end it with the idea that data speaks louder than words. You've seen the data. Decide for yourself what you think is true. It doesn't matter what I believe. And if I leave you with one thought only, if you only remember one thing from tonight, I hope you remember it's only the open mind that really thinks. Let your mind be open to the data. Believe the data, not what somebody else is telling you. So with that, I'm going to end. Thank you all for coming. I'd be happy to answer your questions.
If you have questions, could you come up here?